Hello, everyone. I am Dee. Welcome back to another episode of Spiritually Speaking. I have the beautiful Pamela with me today. She is a trance channel, and I'm super excited to have you here, Pamela. Thank you for coming on with me.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here too. So good to see you. I can't wait to have our conversation today.
Yeah, it's so good to see you too. It's been a little minute since we've talked, so I'm super interested. You are the very first trance channel I've ever interviewed on my podcast, so I'm very
Oh, cool.
excited about that. And I would love to just have you share how things unfolded and you found yourself in this beautiful place.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thanks for letting me be the first trans channeler on your on your podcast. Do you know what's so interesting is I just assume that everyone knows what that word means, right? And recently, like I've been working with my social team to find the right hashtags, to find the right words that resonate with people. And Trans Channeler, we did a lot of research, and not everyone uses it because it's not used, because people don't always know what it is if they're not, like, if they haven't dived into this space and seen all the different people and gone on the rabbit holes and done the research and stuff like that. So it's an interesting word. I used to spell it wrong all the time, and my team used to laugh at me. They're like, "You're not a trance channeler." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm a trance channeler. I go into a trance. um, it's something that I mean, Dee, like I never said when I grow up, this is what I'm going to do. It's not something that I ever saw on the resume of my life, but it was on my spirit's resume. It was my soul's work, my dharma, my purpose, right?
Yeah.
And it revealed itself to me over many years. I was a creative when I was a kid. I was a musician and an artist. And I was always tapping into that space of inspiration in spirit. And I didn't really know that until I was reflecting on my story as an adult,
Mhm.
that was like a safe space for me to go in a tumultuous household in a difficult family. I had a challenging family, and everyone has, a story, and everyone has challenges. Mine was a father who was an alcoholic, and he was abusive, and he was like a fear monger.
Mhm.
We walked around and we didn't have like a calm, safe space. We didn't want to go home. It was that sort of place. And my music was my safe space. And I can reflect now and know that I was hanging out with spirit. I was in a place that felt comfortable
Yeah.
and loving and familiar and warm and safe and creative and all of those things that are the energy of the divine, right? And oftentimes, we might say we want to be this or we want to be that or we want to be all these things when we grow up. But mine wasn't like a spiritual leader for a spiritual community. It wasn't a trance channeler. It wasn't a TV host on a spiritual TV network. Like it was the story of me was always a creative and a musician and a singer. And I had all these different experiences as I was growing up. I got married, I had kids like, most people do when they're adulting and they're moving into the next phases of their life. And I did what I thought was right. And I married someone that I was in love with, and I had children. And I started seeing my father decline, and I started seeing alcohol take my father's life, and him being consumed by it. And I at that time in my life, like I was experiencing life in a different way. I have bills and mortgage and stress and family and in-laws and like all these things. And I was trying to juggle a lot of the same things that my dad was trying to juggle when he was my parent. And I was able to like sit there and look at him with new eyes and maybe understand his position a little bit. And then he died. And I had had my first daughter, and I was pregnant with my second when he died. So I was really into that, like, what am I doing? I'm bringing, children on the planet. I have to raise them and guide them and teach them and lead them. And my father, who was supposed to do all that for me, passed away in front of my eyes. And I thought to myself, where did the energy, the essence, who he was, not just his meat suit, this
Yeah.
body that existed and withered and changed and was consumed by alcohol, but where did he go?
Yeah.
And something happened. I was invited to a spiritual mediumship gallery, and I started going through a dynamic life shift. The recession came. My husband lost his job. I had my own business, and that was slowing down. Our income diminished, and our life changed. We lost our house. We lost our retirement. We lost everything. And I was forced to think about this bigger picture. I wasn't in this little safe bubble anymore. Everything shifted. And that coupled with the where did I go? And then this spiritual mediumship gallery opened my eyes to a whole new way of being, to a whole new reality. Because in that spiritual mediumship gallery, my father came through. I was the first person that this man walked up to, and he said, "Your father's here." And I was like dumbfounded, like, huh?
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, your father's here." And he died. It was his liver, it was alcohol. And I was dumbfounded. Like, I said, "Yes." And he said, "Your father wants you to know how proud he is of you, how talented you are. He never told you." And there were those key things, dear, that like,
Yeah.
I never knew this person. They didn't know me. They didn't know my story. They didn't even know what I was, what gifts I brought to the world. And when he said that I was talented, and he never told me that he loved me, and he was sorry for the way that he treated me, and that he sees how I'm living my life, and he wished that he could do better. And like, it was tremendous. It was a pow, pow, pow moment where
Yeah.
everything just like expanded exponentially. And my world, my consciousness, my experience changed from that moment on forever. And I started wanting to know about life after this physical form
Yeah.
because it was proven to me. It was
Yeah.
proven to me. There was
Right.
no denying it. Right.
Yeah.
And so I went to the library. I mean, I went to the library. It
Not
was like,
Google.
it was like, right. I was like, no, not Google. Exactly. I went to the library, I went to the metaphysical section, and I found a book called Many Lives, Many Masters by Dr. Weiss. And I read that, and I was like, wow, it was about past life regression and about past lives and all these things. And then I read Talking to Heaven, which is like the opposite of that, with James Vaughn or Van Brogg or something. I can't remember his last name. But and that was about people who had crossed over. So at that point, it was about what is beyond this veil.
Hmm.
So there are baby steps that we take when we
Yeah.
start to expand our consciousness, right? It's like it goes from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. And I started I started understanding there was more to life than what meets the eye. And then I started understanding the power of my words. I found Abraham and Esther Hicks and Jerry Hicks.
Yes.
Esther channeled Abraham. Yep, a collective of
Yes.
divine beings. And I found them. And at that time, I really needed to learn about abundance. I had lost everything. Wound up ultimately losing my marriage, but I lost everything. My whole world shifted upside down. And I realized that my words were power, and that I was actually speaking my reality over and over and over and over again. People would say, "Pamela, how are you?" And I would go, "Oh my gosh, Billy lost his job, and we lost our house, and marketing's been cut, and we had to move, and it's so hard." And
Yeah.
I was beating the drum, like Abraham says, I was beating that drum.
Yes.
And then I started saying, "Oh my gosh, we were able to rent our house for a year and move into this tiny little house where we're all living together on top of each other, and we're making it happen somehow." And
Right.
oh my gosh, I'm able to walk my daughters to school every morning and spend time with them. And I mean, I flipped it upside down, and my life started changing. The right
Yes.
people started coming in. The right client kept staying around so that my bills were always met. I would always say my Amex is always paid for. I'm always able to pay I would put everything on my Amex. And like, I started seeing my reality form itself because of what I was putting out energetically. And
Yeah.
I was very baby like with all of that. I really was just at skimming the surface of understanding all of that. But
Hmm.
it was manifesting. And then what happened next was I just wasn't resonating with my husband. I was experiencing this bigger perspective. I was experiencing that love existed, and this did
Yeah.
not exist in love.
Right.
And I was experiencing that I was actually powerful, and I was actually strong, and I was actually taking care of us. And I was actually not willing to settle for something that was less than what I thought could be better.
Right.
And I went through the cycle of 3 years trying to make it work and having conversations and wanting things to change and making work and things not changing and, pleading and begging to say, like, you have to believe that you can do the X, Y, and Z, and you have to feel it and resonate it. And when you're beating the drum to someone who's not able to accept that
Yeah.
frequency, they're just not open to it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and then I started, I was researching and looking and reading and watching and meeting and doing all these things. And I went to this Reiki share. My friend said, "Do you ever do Reiki?" And I was like, "No." And she goes, "Well, there's a yoga studio near me, and they have a bunch of Reiki practitioners, and they're coming on a Saturday. It's called a Reiki share, and there's 5 spots. They're 30-minute sessions, and it's like inexpensive, and they all work on you at the same time." And I was like, "That sounds cool."
Wow. Yeah.
Little did I know, it was like, as usual, like I was taken care of. I was the last one because if I was the first one, everyone would have run out of that room and been like, "I don't want to do this." um, it was my turn. I went up on the table and they started working on me and I started feeling it
Hmm.
so intensely. It was like I started feeling swells through my body.
Yeah.
And then suddenly all this stuff started filling up, filling up, filling up, filling up in my heart. And then I started roaring with like pain. I started releasing and howling the sadness from my heart.
Yeah.
And I was scared, but I was not in control of it because it was clearing my heart chakra.
Yeah.
And it was really the beginning of like opening up all my chakras if I look back on it now. And at the end of it, this woman, I'm bawling and they're giving me tissues. And this woman came over to me. She goes, "You're an empath." And I was like, "I don't know what that is." So see what I mean? I didn't even know I
You're
was an
like, I don't know
empath.
what
And now
language
I'm
you're
a trance
speaking to
channel.
me right now.
Right. Right. What's an empath? But little did I know, like my whole life, I was super sensitive.
Yeah.
I took on everyone's energy. I was on Zoloft after the first year of my marriage because of my anxiety.
Wow.
That's how we treated things with
Yeah.
pharmaceuticals. We
Yeah.
didn't know. We didn't know. And I'm not saying it's bad or good. It was just my story.
Right.
And so after that, it was okay. I know that I can do this, and I am not going to. I started getting the knowings. I started getting little downloads. I started having synchronicities. The right thing would happen at the right time, and the right person, and all these different things would start happening. And then I finally, it was like excruciating. I kept hearing this contract with your marriage is over. It's over. It's
Yeah.
done. It's over. It's time for you to move on. And I just became the witness for my ex-husband for how to have this thing unfold. I'm not going to say I made it go any which way, but what I did was put love at the forefront for every single thing that we
Yeah.
did. I just guided as much as I could on my side with love. And I think by way of that, it helped it. But it was not easy. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I was so worried about my children.
Hmm.
And I was worried about how I would do it myself. And I was worried about being alone. I was worried about what people would think. I was, all the things,
Yeah.
all of the things. And I did that. That one move changed everything again.
Yeah.
So we have these experiences in our life, right? Where we have to show courage. We have to move through fear to show courage. And then we get to see what's on the other side of that if we're able to show love for ourselves and our future opportunities for anything that could be possibility. If we're able to move through it enough and not let the fear barricade us. It's
Right.
hard. It's freaking hard. But once you start doing that, you start seeing the evidence of your life change.
Yeah.
It's there. There's no doubt, right?
Yeah.
There's no doubt. The proof is there. And that's what I did. And I'll tell you, it was like I was on a fast track for whatever this was that I'm still unfolding because it's like nothing's ever done, right? We're continually unfolding our spiritual path. But
Yes.
that led me on, going to a Reiki retreat. Didn't want to, but it became something that was offered to me. I didn't want to learn Reiki. I didn't want to be a practitioner, but this opportunity came and I kept hearing, you're supposed to go, you're supposed to go. Well, I wound up going, learning about my chakras, learning about energy, learning about myself,
Hmm.
helping me understand this whole thing that I'm working with here. And at the end of that, it was like 4 days. At the end of that, at the attunement of that, I had another one of those pow, pow, pow moments when I was getting attuned. My throat chakra did the same thing. I had a past life come through. I had a hanging. I was foaming at the mouth, and
Wow.
it was the craziest experience. And I was guided through love with my friend Kelly, who was my practitioner at the time. I started having visions of the past lives. I started having experience. It was like incredible. And that was because it was time. That was because I made the right choices
Yes.
prior to that to get me to that place. That was because I didn't allow fear to hold me back. And so that became my mantra, I guess you can say, to like, love not fear, love not fear. And
Yeah.
I continually would make those choices over and over and over again. And I started having more alignments. I started having more experiences. And I still have my business through recession, through all these years. And in 20, I think 18, this woman wanted to do trade with me. She was a spiritual business coach. And I said, I would love to do trade with you. And we wound up doing trade. And then she said, you know what? I think that you're going to be able to help my company that I work for. The owner of the company is a spiritualist. And I know that you would be in alignment with it. And we'd love to do some trade with you. I said, okay. And they had a symposium twice a year down in Florida. And I was going, and it was really exciting. And I went down, I walked into this conference room in Florida. I had never met the owner of this company before. I walked in, the vibration was high because everyone was going to be with the owner of this company who was leading this symposium. Everyone was like so excited. And I walked in, I walked right up to him. I put my hand out and I said, hi. His name was Steve. I said, hi, Steve, I'm Pamela. You don't know me, but I know you well. And I wanted to introduce myself. And he looked at me, I looked at him, and this energy shot through my crown chakra, down my body, out my heart. Same thing happened to him. And it went, and we had
Wow.
this weird moment. We had this crazy moment. And he looked at me and I looked at him and he said, do you feel that? And I said, I do. And we were both, I couldn't even look at him in the eyes. I was like taken aback the whole damn time at the symposium. That's all I could think about. Like I'm trying to learn and write notes and all these things and learn. And I came home and I was working one day and my phone rang and I was like on a call and I looked down at my phone. I saw this weird number. Something said it's him in my head. And I did my call. I got off of it. It's him. And he said, I want to discover and learn more about what that experience was. And we had a talk and we were on a phone call. And he said, Pamela, I don't tell anyone this, but I'm actually in, I think, Panama or something. Um, or he wasn't in Costa Rica. He was in Peru. I'm in Peru doing ayahuasca. I would never, ever tell anyone in my business life this, but I feel like I'm supposed to share that with you. And I said, oh, I'm going to do ayahuasca. I'm going to go to a place called Rhythmia Life Advancement Center, but I don't know when I'm going and I don't know how. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know that that's where I'm going because I had a download. And he goes, Pamela, I'm going to Rhythmia in October or November. And I went, nuh-uh, because no one says that on a business. Like no one says that. And he goes, yeah, I'm going in November. Well, we wound up becoming like really good friends. And I kept on hearing, he's going to invite you. He's going to invite you. He's going to invite you. So then he calls me and he goes, do you know what, Pamela? I'm going to Rhythmia in November. They're closing it down. They're only inviting a small group of spiritualists, people who are leading spiritual communities in the world. And I'd like to invite you to come with us. You'd have to pay your own way and everything, but I'd love for you to like be a part of this because I think you'd really resonate with the people. And here we go, love, not fear. Love, not fear. Because I was like, how am I going to pay for that shit? That is expensive. Well, I got a check from the government. And instead of getting like, a new AC unit that year, I knew I had to go there because this stuff comes to you.
It does.
When it's presented to you in this little gift, you've got to go, I accept you. I write
Yes.
the check. I do all the things and we're gonna do this, right? You can't be like, oh, I can't do it. I need an AC unit, or I can't do it. I can't spend the money. You have those thoughts, but you have to push through them.
Right.
So I tell you this whole long story so that you understand how trance channeling started. So when I went down to this place, it was incredible. It was unbelievable. I liked it because and I know the guides liked it for me because it was a very safe space.
Hmm.
I'm the kind of person who needs to know all of the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed. I need to know where everything is, what's going on with everything, because it makes me settle, because I get anxious about things.
Right.
That was so well run. There were doctors on staff. You had to do a medical examination the moment that you got there. It was like a luxury sort of retreat experience. The person who opened it was a hotelier who was addicted to sex, alcohol, gambling, um, everything you could think of. And he did ayahuasca and he was able to
Oh my
release
God, it's
himself from
not
all of
David
that.
Bayer, is it?
No,
Okay,
no,
because
it's
he has a
Gerald
story
Powell.
that's almost exactly like what you just said.
That the same. Yeah. And these people were supposed to do this so that they could create these spaces for other people to do this. And
Yeah.
that's what Gerald Powell did. And, also normally there's like 100 people there that are releasing fear and trauma, addiction, like all these people. Spirit put me, like, hand held me and put me into this beautiful space of people who were at a certain vibration where I needed to be.
Yeah.
I needed to be at that vibration so that I could do what I'm about to tell you that I did. Because if I was in a different frequency and so open, it might have been harder for me.
Right.
Maybe it might not have happened the way it happened. You know what I mean, Dee?
Right.
I've
Yes.
reflected upon that. Yeah, so many times. So it's not for the meek, it's not for the faint. It is serious, it's intentional, it is sacred, it is medicine, it
Hmm.
is energy, it is the energy of grandmother ayahuasca. And the moment you decide that you want to do it, she starts working on you. And I had already had a trip planned to go to Italy with my mother and my brother. This other rhythmia trip came on the tail end of it. Come home, sleep over a night, and go right back out. That was hard for me too,
Yeah.
having my own business, doing all of that. And I was like, never giving gifting. I would never gift myself those experiences, right? I had children in custody and all these things. And how will this work with that? I put myself first. I had to.
Yeah.
And I went and I used to say, how am I going to do a class one hallucinogenic by myself in the jungle? How? I didn't have to figure it out. It was
Yeah.
all figured out for me.
Yeah.
It was all figured out for me.
I always say you
And
can't
if
out
you,
creative spirit. I swear I'm getting t-shirts made with that on there.
no,
I am because
you
it's so
have to.
true. I mean, you can sit there and come up with what you think is the most outlandish way that something could possibly happen, and
Mhm.
spirit will just throw that out the window and come up with something that you are like, what the, how did that
Mhm.
happen? It's just
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. Spirit's like, eraser.
Yeah. Like
We're going to do it this other way.
it's like, hold my beer.
Yeah. You have to do that t-shirt, by the way. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
um, so during that, it was a week long journey. We did it several times a night for 4 nights. It was so scary. It was
Wow.
so scary for me. And I was with these beautiful people, and there was this one woman, Morning Star, who was like a mother figure for me. And the first night we went up, she was in front of me and she took her hand and she put my hand on her back. Like she held my hands because she knew I was shaken. I was
Yeah.
walking and turning and walking and turning, but I knew I had to do it. Because I had to release this fear inside of me. The whole purpose was I had to release this fear. And you
Right.
have to step up to allow the fear to have a chance to be released. And when we got close to the shaman the first night, she turned at me. I could cry. I wish I could have like someone videotaping it. She turned to me, she looked at me, no words, because you're not allowed to talk. And she guided my hand in front of her and she went behind me and she put her hands on my back. And I walked up and bowed to Grandmother Aya and I took my first cup and I literally fought fought it, fought it. I didn't want to fall asleep. I didn't want to do it. I was so scared of what was on the other side. And Aya handled me so beautiful that first night. But throughout those 4 nights, I released so much trauma. I did so much generational um, healing in
Hmm.
my current life In my past lives, I released trauma that I transferred into my daughters in my womb. Each one of my daughters on separate nights, I had revelations of my father, and they showed me things I couldn't believe when I saw it. And I went, oh my God. They would show me things and I'd have to unpack it. I had healings with my mom. I had so much stuff happen. And by the end of that week long thing, we had a breathwork class at the very end. And it's almost like Kundalini yoga where you get yourself in this heightened state.
Hmm.
And they gave us a little spray of the Aya under our tongue before we started. So I was already vibing high, still had ayahuasca in me, was vegan, all the things. So my vibration was super high. At the end of that class, that breathwork class, this light came barreling through my third eye, filled my whole body up with vibration. My brain was crackle, crackle, crackle. My third eye, crackle, crackle, crackle. I heard everything from this moment forward has changed. Your psychic abilities have been enhanced. Then I went home. And then COVID came.
Mm.
And in January, I just was going through, here it is. I just took this out. It's my 2020, all of my notes from 2020. Every morning, I sat down with intention and I meditated and I actually continued the work that I was doing with the guides and with grandmother ayahuasca every stinky morning. These loving Mother Mary, Magdalene, mother of high vibration energies would come in. This collective group of women along with she and like others, they were helping me release more trauma. I was going through all these past life experiences, really going through them, releasing. I recorded them all and I wrote them all down. Because I did that, my vibration got to a point where one day this energy came in, came right in and it started unraveling. That's the only way I can explain it. It was a frequency that was going. I have it on tape. And then this light language started coming out. And it was like, zoom. And it was because I was still not a higher frequency. They were trying to calibrate with me to
Hmm.
do this transference of energy. So I kept at it. I kept at it. I would meet with them every morning. I kept working on it and working on it and working on it. And then these beings would come in, and then these galactics would come in. And I started having premonitions and I started being given guidance on what was coming to the future of planet Earth. I was told there's going to be a war. I was told there's going to be a famine. I was told there's going to be nuclear weapons. I was told there's going to be tectonic plates that are shifting. There's going to be a giant wave. There are going to be hurricanes and volcanoes all over the world. I was told that there was going to be a shift in our currency. There was going to be a global shift in a one world currency that was all consuming and controlling. It was over and 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 over again. And then
Wow.
the beings really became like it was like I used to joke, but I did all of this myself. I had a couple people I could work with here and there that would be referred to me by someone, and they really were able to help me at the time. But I really was, if you want to talk about fear, I really was diving in because I knew like you start experiencing this shit and what are you going to do? Just go back and watch a movie and eat your,
Yeah.
Doritos and just forget about all this stuff that's happening? No, you can't. You have to keep
Yeah.
moving forward because you just know.
Yeah.
You just know through experiential learning that this is what you're supposed to continue to do. And you want to do it.
Yeah.
You have a longing inside of you because it's your soul, it's your purpose. And it wants to be revealed. It wants to be continued and executed. And it
Hmm.
wants to be expedited out to the world. And I know I'm talking a lot, but there's a
No,
lot to
you're
share with
fine.
you.
Yeah,
And
it's a great
and
story.
okay, good. And then the council came in. I mean, I started off in the very beginning with Ra and Thoth and very, very, very dynamic, strong beings. And then the galactics came in, and then all of the feminine divine beings came in, and then um I had psychic attacks and I had dark entities come in when I was sleeping at night. And I literally had a crash course of vibration and frequency. I had to learn all of it at the
Wow.
same time. Yeah.
That's a lot.
So it really was a lot. And then in 2020, I can't remember what month. I have to look on my journal. I woke up in the middle of the night, as I often did, hearing things, seeing things. and I heard spirit calling, spirit calling. And I was like, and I had a notebook by my bed and I wrote it down. And in the morning, I woke up and I saw it and I went, okay. And I went and bought the domain and I just put it aside, I just went to GoDaddy and bought it. It was done. And then in my meditations, I kept hearing you were to build a portal for humanity. There's going to be a glass ceiling that breaks. And everyone is going to be standing, looking dumbfounded, not understanding what they believe in, what their world consists of. And they
Mhm.
need a place to land. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
You're like, wait, what? What?
I'm like,
You're not
what?
talking about me, are you?
I'm like, humanity? A global thing?
That's
Like,
a
what?
lot.
Are you serious? I know. And and then I just kind of wrapped my head around it. And over the course of that year, I kept hearing it. I kept hearing it. And what's actually going on in my my real life, not my spiritual expanded life, is I had a business that was 18 years old, and my client came to me who I had worked with for 10 years, and she was like, I'm thinking about going out on my own. I'd love to partner with you, and it would be really cool if we could work together in some capacity. We wound up partnering after she started her business, and I was like, trying to do something on that end and trying to maintain my life. And then, Spirit kept saying, build a portal, build a portal, build the portal. And I'm like, I mean, I literally can't right now. Can you see I'm busy? It's like this. Hello,
Yeah.
hello. And then by the end of it was about a year. By the end of the year, I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw this vision, and it was these little wings, and they landed on an iPhone screen. And I
Wow.
got up and I sketched the damn things. And in the morning, I saw them. I went, oh no, actually, in the morning, I had to go to GoDaddy for something else. And when I opened up, I saw Spirit calling, and I went, oh, they were all the same thing. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is the portal. And I knew that it was time. And I started building it and I launched it in January of this year. So I'm listening to everything that they say to do.
Yeah.
And in that community, which is safe, and I was very safe in there, being able to transmit my messages. And I automatic write a lot of my messages, but then I also am trying to get used to speaking them out because I know that that's what spirit wants me to do. I know that that's what I'm supposed to do. And I monthly channel a message for the community. I actually just launched this whole thing where I'm actually able to channel other people's guides to give them divine wisdom to help them with their life and work with them. But then in August or September of last year, it's been about a year. No, probably November of last year, this new spiritual TV network came to me and they were like, we are launching a new spiritual TV network. We want to invite you to be a content creator. And I knew, I just know that, well, I'm not going to coward and say, no, that feels uncomfortable. I'm not going to go into, I've always known this is global. That helps the reach. And
Right.
it came to me, just like the Rhythmia trip, just like the Reiki share, just like the mediumship gallery.
Yeah.
They all, just like leaving your marriage, they all come to you
Yeah.
and you have to say yes. I mean, you don't always have to say yes. You have free will, but there's
Sure.
just a strong knowing that it's like this is a part of the plan.
Yeah.
So I have a I have a new weekly TV show on a spiritual it's launching soon. It hasn't launched yet, but the guys are super excited about that. And then July they told me to launch these channel messages to the world, and I listen. And it's uncomfortable for me because it's a public facing thing, and it's
Right.
actually like putting my skills out to the world to say yes, I can do this, which I know I can. I've done it time and time again, but it's still like putting yourself out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was July. This creative space of July was magnificent. The channel message from the guide said, if you're living with your spirit first, you're going to be up here in creative mode. You're going to be up here with the right people coming at the right time and the right strings tying up and the right connections being made and the right ideas coming. If you're not living that way, you're going to be with this chaotic world that's happening.
Mm.
That's also amplifying. Unexpected events were coming in July, they said. A sea of chaos in one direction and a sea of chaos in the other, all attention being placed upon it. But for those who are like us, we're above it with a higher perspective. We are like, it's almost like we've been catapulted
Yeah.
to the top, like oil and water. And
Yeah.
we're like in this amazing space and create. And that's what happened in July. They're like, put your channel messages up, get the page up, get the offerings up. And then next thing you know, it wasn't even launched yet. And they're going like this to me again a week and a half ago. We need you to start. I swear to God, we need you to start putting these premonitions out to the world. And I'm like, huh? They're like, we need you to start talking about your visions. I'm like, it's a little uncomfortable. They could be scary. They're like, it's time. You can't be safe.
Right.
And the channel message I channeled for my community for August was fascinating to me because I got this call. The channel message for the community was, it's time, everyone. You need to get out of your comfortable spaces, your comfortable homes, which is our portals, our communities, and start sharing the words and the knowledge that you have because everyone needs it now more than ever.
Yeah.
You're holding space, your little life preserver for someone out there by holding that space, right? It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
And I
I've
was
been
like,
getting that
hot
message
damn.
in every single reading that I've been listening to. I have a couple tarot ladies that I listen to. It's like every single reading, just about, and I've been getting it in my own cards. And then I used to listen to this one lady that I don't listen to anymore, so I'm not going to say who she is, but one of the things she said was that someone told her, "You walk too softly upon this earth."
Oof.
And meaning you need to make more of an impact. And how do you do that? You do it by sharing those messages and getting yourself out there. And it's like, and I'm getting that message too. Be seen, put yourself out there. I even got
Yes.
one of my oracle card decks is Earth Magic, and it has a whale
Mm-hmm.
card and it's breach. Well, what is it that
Ooh.
happens when a whale breaches the water?
Mm-hmm.
And they're being seen,
Revealed.
they're coming into the light. They're not under their safe space anymore. And I was like, wow. So yeah, I'm getting those
Yeah.
same messages too. So I think you're right. It's really, well, I don't think, I know that you're right. It's
Mm-hmm.
time for all of these messages to get out there, and the more
Yeah.
of us that join together and lead with love, like what you said, because that's huge with me right now too. Well, it always has been, but it's been even brought more to the forefront, leading with that heart chakra, leading with love and light, no
Yeah.
matter what all this crap is that's going on. If that's the emotion and that's the frequency we're putting out there, it makes a difference. And
It
that's what I've
does.
been telling
Yeah.
people, when I'm talking to them, is it makes a difference. I know it's hard to see that stuff, and I know that you can easily get caught up in it and be crying or be angry or whatever, and that's the emotion you're putting out there, which feeds what you want to see gone. Whereas when you're
Mm-hmm.
leading with love and you're putting the love and light out there, it's actually like taking oxygen away from a fire. And when there's
Mm-hmm.
more and more people doing that, then that fire is going to get smaller and smaller.
It's
It's
amazing. I like that analogy. Yeah. It's true. Um, they told me I channel with someone in my community who happens to be my best friend right now. Her name
nice.
is Dina. She's incredible. And she's like my counterpart, almost like Abraham and Esther. She gets guidance to go and read the channel messages and in the middle of the night. And she finds these excerpts that they want her to hear because they'll tell her things that they want, like they want us to do these things together.
Mhm.
And we've been practicing more. And this woman, Tina Marie, just had gone out of the public for a long time. Now she's back, and she told me, she's like, I would love to practice with you. We're holding space for each other. We
Mhm.
Because we understand what's needed right now, and having these conversations and sharing them is imperative. But the guide said, which I found fascinating on our last channel, you will be seen, not found. You
Mhm.
will be seen, which means there is a frequency pushing this shit out there,
Oh
pushing it
yeah.
out there. Sorry if I keep cursing, but I
No,
get
you're
excited.
fine.
But but like we are not in charge of this. We are
Right.
doing what we're supposed to do for our souls, but they are sweeping it up. They are bringing it up. They want it to be revealed like the whale. They want it to be seen. And I am just like everybody else. Putting that premonition out was so scary it was like putting myself out on stage in my, without clothes on or something. It was like, it was so raw and scary to me, Dee. It
Yeah.
was. And do you know why though? Because it's not even the last part. It's maybe some of the last pieces of the fear that I have to work through
Yeah.
getting out to do that. Because I went back to look at the channel message where they told me to do all this stuff, but then I didn't watch it for a week later. I went back a week later to look at it. After they told me to push it out, I went back a week later. That week before the, everything that happened, they said it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Everything that they wanted to happen happened, and they said it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like they said, most people are going to receive this, only a few are not. I'm telling you, 98% of the comments, 10,000 views
Wow.
on this YouTube. There were 550 likes and like, I can't look right now, but like 75 comments. Like you know, most of them were positive. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you. Some of them were really fearful.
Sure.
And I've never done this before. So I had to look at those and like feel it. Their fear triggered my fear. I had to work through it and understand this is part of my process of putting it out there.
Hmm.
And I know that there's events coming soon. I've been saying it forever. I know, but the fact that they're making me put this out there now, it's because they want me to be seen
Hmm.
so that I am seen later, not found. They want people to, me and others like us, to be the reservoir that people come
Right.
to drink, to find the information
Right.
from, to feel like grounded and to learn what's happening, to feel guided because they're not getting it in other, they're not getting the truth. They want the truth. They're
Right,
not
they
getting the truth.
do. And it's there's really a hard push for the truth right now, I feel. And not just by
Mm-hmm.
spirit, but by, well, I mean, spirit guides everything, but by humans. Like, I think they're just sick of the bullshit. I really do. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, how dumb do you think we are that you keep throwing this stuff at us and we're looking at the reality and it doesn't match what you're saying? They
Yeah.
and I feel like there is a hunger for the truth right now, even if it's uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
even if people, you know, it's kind of a I do, but I don't want to hear it type of thing. But we need to hear
Mm-hmm.
it. It needs to be said.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 100% in agreement
Mm-hmm.
with that.
Yeah. They do want to hear it. They do. And there's people that ask honest questions.
Mhm.
Like, how do you know? Because they're leading it. I had to talk to Tina Marie. I needed a mentor. I was having a hard time because I never navigated anything like this before. And she said, Pamela, as long as your intent, you know what your intent is. I said,
Right.
yes, I do. And she said, people are meeting your messages with the level of fear that they carry within themselves. And I said, I know. I know. I just needed like a sounding board. And
Absolutely.
it's true. But they want the truth.
Hmm.
They'll come back because they want their spirit will guide them because their
Yeah.
spirit understands truth.
Yes.
It's a giant reality show. It's a giant,
It
crazy
is.
reality show. I always say everything is backwards day. So everything you think is true, it really isn't.
Yeah.
It's
Like
not.
wacky
It's a
Wednesday every
system that's
day,
put in
huh?
place. It's Wacky Wednesday every day. So, that's why I guess the channel messages are being put out. And I guess that's why the Ethereal Network it was set to launch and then they got a new partner and then it's going to be even better than it was before. And now that's kind of pushed. The timing is divine. The timing is
Yes.
perfect. And they're going to be places for everyone to find your podcast, to find all of these resources to be able to hear truth
Yeah.
and have discernment because you're learning your discernment scale by
Absolutely.
every truth that you hear.
Hmm.
You're learning it, you're understanding because you're getting a chance to measure it, to feel it in your
Yes.
own vibration and your frequency. How does it feel? Yeah, truth feels good.
Truth
So
feels
you'll
really
keep
good.
going back to it. Hmm.
Yeah, it feels really good. Even if we don't like it, even if it makes us
Yeah.
uncomfortable, it definitely still there's a level of it. It really does feel good to hear that and
Hmm.
know that. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I feel
Yeah.
like in my own journey just recently, and when you said, you're going to be seen, it just reminded me of this because and I feel like these little things happen before I talk to people so that it can be brought up. But in my own journey, like I got in my head about some stuff and I like had to really put down social media a lot. Like I
Mm,
quit getting on there nearly, I get on there like maybe twice a day now and just for a short
mm.
amount of time because I was just too, I don't live my life by social media, but there were some numbers that were
Yeah.
bothering me and I wasn't sleeping well and I just felt like I was overstimulated every single second I was learning something from another podcast or whatever and I didn't have this
Yes.
downtime that I really do need that we all need that downtime where it's
Yeah.
for real downtime. It's not learning something, it's like that inward focus
Yeah.
for real. And I got this message and it's almost like you know how it is when you garden and you plant the
Mhm.
seed, and after you plant the seed, your job is to water and make sure that enough sun comes, right? That seed is growing in a space that it gets plenty of light for the plant that it is, and you make sure it has water. That's it. That's your job. Other than that, the universe takes care of the rest. And that was such an
Mhm.
epiphany for me because, I have this podcast and I have this business, and I'm like, okay, so I need to be the gardener in my business
Yeah.
and this podcast, and I need to come and I need to do the interviews and I need to, put them on YouTube and all of the things and do those things, which is like the keeping the weeds out of the garden and making sure it has water and sun and all of that stuff. And the universe, girl, stop worrying about it. You know what I mean? That
Yes.
was like
That divine
the universe was
intelligence.
like, stop
Hmm.
worrying about it. Just know that you are being divinely taken care of and you're
Hmm.
doing your part. So the seeing, it just reminds me of that. Like the universe has got you where that's concerned. All you
Yeah.
have to do is tend your garden, and then the universe is going to take care of the
Tend.
seeing part of it. So, yeah.
I agree with you. It's beautiful. They often talk in their messages when I do the automatic writing, they talk so beautifully like that. Very much similar to you. Like your lungs know to draw oxygen upon them. You know, your body knows that it's to heal itself. The
Yeah.
seasons change. The clouds travel through the sky with no direction. They don't need or ask for direction. Like all of it, the way that they speak, Dee, it's so beautiful. I'm gonna have to send you one of those when we get off.
Oh, I love
And
that.
it's true. It's everything. You know, you become conditioned. We are human. We live a three-dimensional reality.
Yeah.
Social media is, I'm in front of this giant screen from 8 a.m. this morning, and I'll be off when we're done. So
Yeah.
that's how many hours, it's what we do. It's how we live. I run two businesses. It's just the way it goes. And then you're looking at your social, and I'll film a TikTok, but I go out and I talk to my plants, or I spend time with my little puppy connecting with his energy, you know, and
Yeah.
the full moon was last night. And, I know this won't be relevant for when this launches, but that energy of the blue supermoon and harnessing it in
Mhm.
to amplify, your desires and
Yeah.
what you want to create in the world. And what people don't understand is that we are actually in control of all of it
Yeah.
with our words,
Yeah.
with our actions. We get to choose to live in that space that you just described, letting go, letting them have the driver's wheel or whatever, the wheel,
Yeah.
and to take on and just to drive it wherever it's going to go, because you have no idea. The stuff that comes out of nowhere and it changes in a day with me, I'm just like, wow, I'm not like stunned by it anymore. I'm just like, give me more of that, because you have no
Yeah.
idea that it's
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah. I always say I'm not
No
surprised.
idea.
I'm never surprised, but I'm always
Hmm.
amazed. I love
Hmm.
it so much. Like I can't tell you how many times I've like,
Yes.
I love spirit. Like I love it. Like it's so much fun to see it in action when it's really, I mean, you always are seeing it in action, but those moments when you like really allow yourself to have the realization of what is actually happening. And it's so
Yeah.
amazing. And I love it. It's so fascinating to me
Yeah.
and just incredible. I'm gonna get
Yeah.
emotional
It's
about
wonderful.
it. Jeez.
Yeah, it's true. Get emotional, because that's
Yeah.
gratitude, and that brings more of those experiences to you.
Yeah.
Because you just can't plan it, but all you can do is keep saying yes and doing what you're doing and planting the seeds and mothering it and nurturing it, and you know We get overwhelmed. I know I get overwhelmed by all the things that have to get done all the time. And sometimes I'll be a big old baby and I'll cry like I'm MFer.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, what do you want from me, spirit? I listen. I'm doing everything you ask. I sold my house. I moved to another state. I made all of these big decisions because you told me to. I
Right.
listened to every single thing.
Yeah.
Every single thing. I listen to every single thing. And then when these swift moments come, it's freaking magic.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know I didn't see that coming. Thank you. I know you had it all in control. Thank you. Like I get it. Thank you. And you're humbled by it again. And then you're like,
Yes.
I'm doing it. And then the next month.
It's that humanness, it's that humanness. I
Yeah.
just had that come up very recently too, because I'm very much out here. Like
Hmm.
anybody who is any kind of intuitive at all or knows me knows that I love being out in the stratosphere. And I
Hmm.
literally had to make friends with my human body because I felt like I was so limited by it. Like I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, I'm like, I didn't want to walk through doors. Like it pissed me off. Like I shouldn't have to open a door.
Hmm.
I'm spirit. I should be able to just go whoosh right through the wall. What the hell? That's not right. I had to make friends with my human body, and I've worked on that. That's something that over the last year and a half I've really worked on, and I felt like I was there. And then I had this another incident, another revelation, and it's like I wasn't all the way friends with my human self. And then I realized, if we don't have this human body, then we aren't evolving
Right.
for one thing, right? But we don't get to have all these experiences, like I was using the example of Steve's hands. I love his hands. He's got these big
Hmm.
hands. And,
Hmm.
I'll hold his hand and I'll just like, my hands are small. So I'll just play with the difference between the sizes of our hands and just like, and feel the warmth of his hand and how strong it is. I'm like, if I didn't have a human body, I wouldn't get to have that experience. I wouldn't be able to feel the warmth of
Hmm.
him. I
Hmm.
wouldn't be able to feel him hug me. I wouldn't get to have that because when you aren't in a human body, you don't get to experience that. It's a
Hmm.
different experience. Not that it's not a lot of love and stuff, but there's not the warmth. The warmth comes from the actual
Yeah.
human experience. And I was like,
Yes.
holy shit. That's crazy. That's so amazing. The things that we don't even think about. And like they're not all good, all the experiences, like when we hit our baby toe on a chair as we're walking by or something and we hurt, but if we didn't have that hurt, we wouldn't realize that it doesn't hurt when it doesn't hurt. It would all be
Hmm.
the same. It
Hmm.
would be like this monotone experience. So being able to
Yes.
have that contrast is what allows us to evolve, but allows us to also know the goodness when we have it too. So it was just, it was really an eye opener for me. That's all been like in the last week.
Yeah.
It's been a very busy week for me.
Yeah. It's amazing because it's
Yeah.
so true. I have kind of a similar feeling with my body where I think I'm coming into being more at one with it than I've ever been before.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's age or consciousness, but I'm trying to love it and
Yeah.
not feel apart from it and
Yeah.
not feel mad at it or annoyed with it
Yeah.
or disgusted by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the things. And it's new because this year I proclaimed my year of health, and then I've had to do like all these damn dermatology surgeries and all this other crap. And I'm like, okay, well, this is what you proclaimed. This is what you said you want. So now we're uncovering all the things, and you're gonna deal with them. But it's a new appreciation of how your body heals. Like it's incredible. You cut a part of my shoulder off, and you sewed it back together, and it grows back.
Yeah.
Incredible. I mean, it's true.
It is
It's
amazing.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. My brother had a liver transplant probably 7 weeks ago now. You can take an organ from another body, cut my brother open, move his other shit around, and stabilize this new organ, stitch it in so it doesn't move, put the other stuff back in, give him medicine to make his body accept it, and he can live like it's a to me, and he can heal from it. I've
Yeah.
watched that, and I'm like, I mean, we forget all these things. We just take
Hmm.
it all for granted.
We do.
This little cut, we take it for granted.
Yeah.
The eyes that work, we take it for granted. Our voice, all of it.
Yeah. There's so
Yeah.
much that we just don't even pay attention to. And that's a deeper sense of gratitude is something that's been given to me lately too. And I always felt like
Mm-hmm.
I am a very grateful person anyway, but we were
Mm-hmm.
without power for 3 days in August. And I live in Florida,
Oh.
Central Florida.
Uh-huh.
So it's like
Oh.
super hot dog days of summer type of thing. And,
Yeah.
and then we're out without power. So on the third morning, I had no idea when I was going to get power. Steve was working out of town. And so I go outside on the morning of the third day and I'm meditating outside. And I was like, okay, talking to the universe. Like, I'm so grateful. Like, I didn't complain about it at all because I felt like, we have the generator, we have the refrigerator and the freezer plugged in. We're
Yeah.
not losing our food. I have a fan, like I'm so grateful. So many people had damage and we didn't, but just the loss of power.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, what is this teaching me? What am I to be learning from this? And it's
Mm-hmm.
like more gratitude, more gratitude. Like there's things that you're missing, like being
Yeah.
able to flush the toilet by just pushing the handle down and not having to use a
Mm-hmm.
bucket of water. I mean, being able to have
Mm-hmm.
running water when you brush your teeth instead of having to do it with a
Mm-hmm.
bottle and
Yeah.
like camp, rustic camping style, and it's like amazing, amazing. Just the
Yeah. It
deeper
is.
sense of gratitude that I have for everything, like, AC, not just like, oh, it feels good, but oh my God, I'm not like I was laying on the couch with ice packs on my body, literally ice packs on my
Oh
body
my
because it was
gosh.
so hot, but just the
Yeah.
gratitude,
Yeah.
and it's life changing. I know people think that it's such an oversimplified concept to people. Like they think that's just too easy. How
No,
could it be that easy just to be grateful? What is that going to do? Oh my God. Try it. Do it for a week and see how your life shifts, you
absolutely.
know?
It's a completely different dynamic. When you're in the frequency of gratitude, your vibration raises.
Yeah.
It just catapults. You turn into like you're pulsing out this frequency.
Yeah.
Do it. So, anybody who's listening, do it. Sit down and close your eyes and start thinking about the beautiful things in your life. And if you can't and don't know where to start, think about someone that you love tremendously or a moment that brought you to tears. I
Yeah.
mean, for me, it's as simple as thinking about when my kids were born or when I hear a violin. My God, the frequency of the violin just makes me start to cry whenever I'm in
Oh,
its presence.
yeah.
And so when you just think about my life and my beautiful this or all the things that are important to you, you start. And if you have a pair of wax earplugs, because I sleep with wax earplugs, you can actually hear your frequency shifting. It starts going
Oh,
woo,
wow.
woo, woo, woo.
I wonder if I hear that right there, what you're describing, that kind of wah, wah, wah noise. I hear that
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, that's that frequency permeating because your body turns into a little generator. You're permeating that frequency out into the universe. When you're
Wow.
constricted in fear, you're not doing that.
Yeah.
When you're excited, you're amplifying. When you're in love frequency, you're amplifying. The lower the vibration is, it's not a high frequency that's buoyant and that's going out and pulsing out. They're different, basically, is it? But yeah, that's a really good. Let me tell you something. The generator and being prepared and preparedness is a huge message right now.
Yeah. It
I
is.
just channeled a doozy. I just channeled a doozy to yesterday, and they're not holding back anymore. And they want everyone to know that there's a series of events coming, and they're
Yeah.
going to be events that are here in our United States of America.
Yeah. And I don't feel
And
like it's
you
going to be
can't.
very long. I'd love for you to
It's
expand on that
not.
because I don't feel like it's going to be very long. And I even said to Steve, we have well water. We're out in the country, so we have well water.
That's
I
excellent.
said, but we have a pump. It's electric.
Yeah.
I said, we are
Yeah.
going to lose power. We need to get a hand pump where we can have access
Hmm.
to water. So
Hmm.
that's something that we do have in the works. And we're, getting our little box with we have a food saver. So we're, vacuum sealing
Good.
some rice and beans and different things like that so that we,
Hmm.
we're not getting crazy like some people like they they have their
No, it's called
house, but
prepared.
but
Prepared,
you
not scared.
yep,
Prepared. Yeah.
seeds so that we can grow food and things like that. So,
Hmm.
I'm on the
Hmm.
same page as you where that's concerned because it's not an if now.
No, it's
It's
when
not an
it's
if,
actually coming.
if it's a win and I don't think it's going to be very
Yeah.
far off in the future. That's just how I feel.
I don't either. I often think, and these things just come down to me, that there's going to be some sort of disruption with the election. I really do. I've been
Yeah, I've
feeling
been
that for a
hearing
long
so much
time. And
stuff about that I mean things from there's not going to be an election. A lot of people feel like there's not
that's what I
even
feel.
going to be an election, that something's going to
Hmm.
happen and it's just going to be a
Hmm.
non-issue.
Hmm.
And, then I heard some other person say, and I can't remember who said it, that I was listening to a podcast, and they said, just don't make a choice. Like the best thing right now is just to not even make a choice. And I was like, wow, that's pretty, being an American where it's like, you need to vote and all of that. It's interesting to hear
Yeah.
someone say that.
Yeah. I've been feeling like I always felt like there was going to be a bait and switch with the the presidential. I always thought actually that he was going to die and she was going to go in place. I always saw him coming out and her going in. So I didn't know how to articulate that. And then I see, this is me, they haven't said this, but I got to go look at the new channel message. I don't see it happening. I see it not being an issue because it
Hmm.
can't. That's what I see. So I don't know if that'll happen. There's always timelines,
Yep.
but I did channel a message on the 18th. So that was 2 days ago. And it's talking about an outage of power and a financial change that's going to happen. And I can read that for you if you want me to.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It's a big one. Yeah, I'm happy to read it to you. I'm going to put it out on TikTok. I just got to get some kahunas to do it. It's like
Mhm.
it's a big one. So basically, on August 18th, they said an outage of power, financial change overnight. Televised appearances will happen. Speaking of an event that is coming and will take place, many will not believe it. They think it is not something that the U.S. will ever experience, but they are false in their assumptions. The U.S. is a target now. The whole goal is to take down the freedoms that your country has enjoyed for the last centuries. You will say, how is this going to take place? How is this going to change overnight? We have said that there will be an outage of power and all will go black. There will be fear spread among you and you will cease to do commerce. You will not have your comfort and ease of living at your fingertips. You will fear what is coming and you will start to fight among yourselves. I've seen this. I've seen this over and over and over again. This is the plan that has been positioned to take place. There will be a scattering of people from the cities that go out through the countryside. You will need to prepare your homes and your food supply and storage of batteries and power sources. You will also need to protect protective measures. I don't want to get into too scary, but they say that you and others like you, dear child, will have the means to coexist in a matter that has been in preparedness. They always talk about prepared, not scared.
Mhm.
You will understand that this is coming to your United States and you will not be in fear. You ask, why are we transmitting such a fearful message to you for you to consume? We are merely trying to prepare you for less fear. For when the time does arrive, you will be bathed in fear from the waves of chaos that permeate your planet. People will cease to inhabit restraint, and fear will take over their bodies and their minds. You will see changes within the people that you thought you knew, and it will be one man for himself. You will now understand that this is the message that we have been preparing for you, for we have the highest intentions within your messages. We aim to assist your highest good, for you will be in receivership when an event happens, and then all will wait upon the words that are to come. Spread this word out to the world, and now do not hold on to this and express it in its entirety. No holds barred.
Mhm.
They're they've never been this detailed and precise. They talk about all the things that are lovely and beautiful.
Mhm.
And then when I ask them for this, they're like, we've been waiting. here you go. And they can't sugarcoat it anymore because, like you said, it's coming.
Hmm.
It's not if, it's when it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if
Yeah.
you know who Alex Collier is, but he's an
Oh,
andromeda
yeah. I haven't seen him in a
contactee.
while. Hmm.
And he
Hmm.
says that the financial system is moving towards a barter system again because this currency situation that
Hmm.
we have right now is not really working. So, and I mean that's what we used to do years ago. I mean, like way back,
Hmm.
people would trade a pelt for a bag of flour or whatever it was, you know.
Yes. Hmm. Yeah.
So,
And they told me in 2020 that the financial system would collapse and the stock market would crash. And they told me to invest my money into preparedness, into physical gold and silver, into supplies, that's preparedness, and into cash. So to have things to barter and trade with, to have, the dollar, paper dollar was not going to be worth anything. And people say, well, gold and silver. Yeah, but gold and silver used to back our currency. Gold and silver still have value. They've had value for centuries.
right.
And if something does happen and you need something, you have something. I have I'm going to share with the TikTok community that we did get supplies. I did get things back in 2020, generators and batteries and light sources and ways to fuel and ways to and candles and um all the things. And I have this journal. It was just me and my two kids, but I knew I would find my beloved. And so I had it prepared for four people
Hmm.
because I knew he was going to be there and I needed to have preparedness for four people, like
Right.
I wasn't going to, oh, well, he might come one day. No, I had to believe that he was going to be there. He's here
You created
and
that
he's
space for
everything that
him, you
I
know?
created that space for him. And you know what I got? I got a frickin' Marine. I didn't even know that wasn't even on my vision board. But spirit knew, like
Yeah,
spirit knows how I function. Spirit
right.
knows I need to have that.
Right.
It's amazing. I got to stop saying the word crazy,
It
but
is
it's
amazing.
incredible. When I found that out, I was like, "Huh? You're the person that goes out first to help our country when something happens? Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
We're good."
yeah. It's an amazing thing for sure. That's so cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, did they
Yeah,
give you
it's
any
very
kind of
cool.
timeline or did they just say that it's coming and it'll be soon? Because I mean, soon
Yeah,
in
they keep saying now
human
and
time is
soon,
one thing, but
angel
soon in
world.
spirit time is is a totally different thing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. These messages have been coming for the past 4 years, but there's been an up level and a shift that's happened recently. And with my clairvoyance, and my clairsentient, all my clairs and all the knowings and the visions and the things that I've seen and I've been told, I see it moving faster. I see these changes that they're having me make happen for a reason. I see the ethereal network, a global reach happening, right? Followed by me now going onto this social platform, being the wheels are starting to turn. I had
Yeah.
to put these things out, these last few things, so that they were there for when the things happen, for the ball to start to roll down the hill and gain momentum. So if you ask me, I would say I really believe within this year and next year too. I feel like there's going to be events that happen between now and the election. I feel like there's going to be a war. I feel like there's going to be a series of events that happen in our country simultaneously when people are going to have overwhelm. I've been told that.
Mhm.
I don't know when. And there's always many timelines happening at the same time, so things can shift.
Yeah.
But what I do know is that the immediacy of these has expedited, and I've met them where they want me to be, so I keep doing it.
Yeah.
Everybody feels it in our world. They feel it.
Mm.
Everybody knows something's wrong.
Yeah.
Everybody knows things are off. Everybody sees the players that are running our world and how off everything feels.
Oh,
Everybody
yeah.
knows it. That's that
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. So, I mean, so there, like, I could ask you like 500,000 questions, but I do have a couple that are coming up to the forefront. And one is you're to be seen. This message is to get out, to get out. So there's this big push to be seen, and then there's going to be darkness. So how does that message continue to be shared when the power
Mm-hmm.
goes out?
Mm-hmm. Power comes back on. I ask these same damn things. How are we supposed to exist with, how is anyone supposed to be able to see this if we have no internet?
Right.
They tell me not that I'm not supposed to worry about any of that, that it's all going to be taken care of. I don't understand it either. I really don't. I have to sit in this faith and know that it's going to be as they say. I also know that if they do that, that CBDC, that that social credit score and that digital currency, the central
Mhm.
bank digital currency, if they are going to be shifting us over to that, I also know that we're going to be limited in what we can do, what we can have. There's going to be a certain class that you're going to be put in depending on your wealth and what you do and how much money you have, and like all of those things need to be determined. And even when you watch like prophetic, like Christian prophecy and people that are out there, I love watching them because I love watching people doing good work,
Yes.
and they talk about how Jesus, who's one of my best friends, I love him, is going to, take care of it. And they're all going to be taken care of. They're going to have the resources that they need to do what they need to do. That's what I just believe in. Also, I just believe in that this is all somehow figured out some way, and I got to get it out. So maybe I get it out before it happens. And then when things come back on, they come to me. I don't know. But the seen and not found is freaking awesome. I wish I had that. I have it recorded. Yeah, I have it recorded. They're going to be communities of people waiting on my word. It's their word, not mine.
Right.
Waiting on the word, wanting to know.
Yeah.
And so I built my portal. I've always known the portal is going to be like that too. People are coming in and
Yeah.
they're going to be real timing, real timing, real timing, just like Reddit or whatever those other platforms are. I built my own too, I guess. You know, I built it because I always knew it had to be able to scale for large amounts of people. I did that from the very beginning. I knew I couldn't do just like a makeshift kind of Wix site or I had to build it to be able to scale. And so, that's as much as I can say. Spirits in the driver's
The spirit
seat.
is in the driver's seat. So, and I do feel like that's going to be soon, that whole thing that we just talked about. And I stated that before, and I do feel like that. How long do you feel like, or did the guides, your collective, say anything about the how long the aftermath will take to get us back? Because I feel like what's happening here, and this is just me, I don't really call myself a channel or anything like that. I feel like I just get this information. But I feel like this is all pushing us to a new way of being, a new
Yes.
way of interacting with each other, not just with each other, but with our planet, with the other life on our planet, the animals and the
Hmm.
ecosystems and all of that. I feel like it's pushing us to a better way of being.
It is.
Do you have any kind of timeline after all this craziness, all of the chaos that seems to happen before the things start leveling out, so to speak? Do you have any kind of timeline about that particular thing?
They talk about the return of I wish I had all these messages to read to you. They talk about the return of the ways that used to be. They talk about the communities and the world and the commerce and the way we interact with our clair senses and the way that it's a loving and beautiful world where
Yeah.
we're all sentient beings and we all have the same shared vision for our world, a way that used to be. And all of that has to break down that's existing now for us to get to that place. And if you look at the 2030 agenda, which is part of a larger agenda, it's going to take a while. It is going to take a while because generationally they've been casting new systems in place. You know, the baby boomers are all leaving and now they're indoctrinating our youth into a new system that has to every generation they do one like they kind of like over sexualized my generation and the generation before me or after me and now my kids. And now if I look at the children now and what they're doing in the school systems, and they're breaking down the barriers, they're really trying to create something that is very inclusive and there'll be no lines, anything can happen. And they want to create a new world. And it's the opposite of Christ consciousness, love, frequency. It's the opposite of that. So to get to the Christ conscious frequency of love world, the golden age of what we have had in Lemuria and Atlantis and all of those times like that, we've got to fully break down what we have. And hopefully, I don't know, I don't have a clear vision of how long that will take or how much we're going to have to go through. But I'm going to say that I really hope that we are able to come together and break this darkness that kind of is casted upon everyone that's sitting in a system in a matrix that with a low frequency consciousness and not understanding that they're sentient beings that are light beings that exist in love. You know, one of the greatest things that they want me to do is teach about love, to teach about frequency and dimensions, to break everyone out of this. Have you ever seen that animation? And I don't know who put it out, but it's like a whole bunch of men in gray suits and they're just going, they're in a conveyor belt, they're going to work, they're holding their briefcases, they go to work and they come
Mhm.
home
Yeah.
and it's like that's what our world is.
Yeah.
You know, we have these pathways put before us. We have these systems that were indoctrinated into these religions. These, you have to have this degree and you have to look this way and you have to be in this place and you have to have all these be enslaved in a financial system and live with low vibratory food and experiences and music and news and all the things that are pumped out
Yeah.
to keep us bound into a lower frequency. That is all going to be shattered in order for us to return back to what we are innately created as.
Yeah.
I don't know how long that will take. And man, we signed up for this shit before we came here.
Yeah,
So
how
we're
crazy is
we're in
that? Now
it.
you can use the word crazy for that, Pamela. Because that is crazy. Holy crap, what were we
we're
thinking?
yeah, we're in it to win it.
But I mean, honestly, though, when you think about it, to be not just a part of that, not just a participant in that, but
Hmm.
to be a powerful leader, to be a
Hmm.
powerful, I hate to use the word look up to, but we all need someone to look up though. So I
Yeah,
guess to me, that's not really necessarily a negative thing, but to be in
change
that
maker.
place where you can lead and guide people and they can turn to you for the words of hope and wisdom. I
Hmm.
think that's a very, very powerful thing. And wow, what a legacy to leave behind,
Yeah,
truly.
a lighthouse. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
a
Yeah,
lighthouse for sure.
a lighthouse. I just saw it in my eye. Like I just saw a lighthouse. Because when everything is dark, you can see a lighthouse. When everything is light, you can't see darkness.
Right.
When everything is dark, you can see light,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
That's so cool.
It is so
I
cool.
want that world. Don't you?
Yes.
I want that world again.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I don't
do.
want to
And
live in
and
a
I
world that's
honestly don't know, like I don't feel like we've ever really truly had it because I don't feel like we can ever go backwards. I feel like we're
Mhm.
constantly moving forward. There's always this forward momentum. So I feel like the things that looked like that we see now, I don't know that they were actually like that because we have so many things in
Mhm.
place now that we're in this age of technology, in this age of information, that the things that looked so peaceful then, it was just because people didn't know. They were so isolated
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't even have
Yeah.
cars. So like it would could
Mm-hmm.
take days to just go visit a family member or whatever. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Where now it's so fast and furious all the time. So we have all this information. So what we saw as this like utopian world, was it though? Or do
Right.
we just look
Right.
at it now as that because it's just a comparative
Of what we
analysis
have.
and it's not really
Yes.
an actual fact, because they
Mm-hmm.
did. I mean, if you all you have to do is watch some of these old cowboy movies, right, where they were still robbing the trains and you had the bad sheriff in town that was controlling the whole place. So I mean, I feel like that's this kind of stuff has been in existence. And I feel like what we're moving into doesn't have room for that. Like, I don't feel like there
Right.
can be a bad sheriff in town where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how I feel.
I would like to go to a world where, sickness wasn't cast upon it, where there was, I heard someone talking about something once. Oh, I wish I could remember what it was. But they were talking about when someone in their community would be ill, they would go to the healing tent or the healing tank or whatever. And all of these light beings would hold space for them and emit their frequency, and it would heal them because it would
Yeah.
just shift the vibration within their body. And
Yeah.
that's like what we're supposed to be, you know? It's incredible. It's
Yeah.
really
Well, there's
cool.
a hospital like
This
that
is
in
fun.
China. I think it's in China.
Is
There's a
there?
hospital that
Okay.
has, like, that's what they do there. They have the healers that just, I mean, and it is a thing, and I feel like a lot of this sickness, and we could go down this rabbit hole, and I don't really want to, but I'm just going to throw it out there real quick. A lot of the sickness we have now is due to environmental stuff that has been put into our waters and our skies, and that we're encouraged to use on our crops and things like that. And then it's all these poisons that are put actually into our food, and they're packaged in these pretty colorful packages that make us want to have them, and they're actually designed to be addictive. And I feel like that's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of where the sickness has come from too, that it's not
Mm-hmm.
just that the world is sick. You know what I mean? Like we're just
Mm-hmm.
physically ill that because we're unhealthy. It's been a
Mm-hmm.
prescribed thing to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's how I see it.
I agree with you.
And that's crazy too. We can use your crazy word. So, I mean, wow,
It's
what a journey you've been on and you're still on. I mean, it's like I feel you so deeply that this journey has been so profound for you, and you've experienced these just quantum leaps. I mean, I don't really use that term very lightly at all. It's not, I mean, it feels like a
yeah,
catchphrase these days, but I do feel like it applies to the things that you have experienced. Like you just like time jumped from being in this vibration and this frequency to just like bam, and now you're over here. Like you just jumped way over there, and
yeah,
now you're doing this amazing work. And yeah, that's so cool.
yeah. It's interesting because I've been on this journey for since 2008, 2012. But the team, the people that came in to my life in the last year to help me do what I need to do with this platform, and they're new people that are they're they're waking up lightning fast. They just started their awakening journey.
Yeah.
But there are people that I've done work with in past lives. The channel messages that come through about us, there's a four that have been ignited, that have been brought together, that have a shared purpose. And they came in like out of the blue. This woman, the one I just told you about, Dina, out of the blue. And now we've been together for a year, but through her experience with a job offer that she took and a person that she met, and now there's two new boom. And so now the four have been united, and there's this up leveling that's happening with their waking up like in in an incredible speed. Like I can't even, I've never seen it before. And
Yeah.
that's why I know that they're here now. The magic that this one person has is incredible. And the way that they describe his talents and his abilities and what he's done and how he shows up in the world and the work that he's done in his lifetime, it's exactly what I'm going to need at the moment this rock starts falling down that hill, rolling down that hill. He's going to come and he's going to be able to put it in. Like they tell me all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, whatever you say, because it's just like the rest of it. I believe it, and I believe it to be true because I see it
Yeah.
showing up in my life and how it's manifesting and it's evidence. So yeah, but thank you for saying that. And it's been fun to share my story too. I don't always get to say it from the beginning to where I am now. So thanks for giving me that
Yeah,
space.
you're very welcome. It's a fascinating story. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's so good. And I feel like this is so important. This work that you're doing is so important. And I mean, I know that channeling, people get a little freaked out when you use the word channeling, especially trance channeling, because they're like, well, you go into a trance, what are you doing? And all of the things. But I feel like if you
Yeah.
take that piece away and just listen to the message,
Hmm.
I feel like it's exactly like what you said. It's exactly what people need to hear right now. And they want to. They want to hear
Hmm.
the truth.
Hmm. Hmm.
I know I said that
I
before, and so
agree.
did you, but still, I think it needed to be said again.
Yeah.
You folks know you want to hear the truth.
Yes, they do.
So, is there anything else you'd love to share today with us before we close this out for today?
Yeah, I think that the most important thing that I would love to tell everyone is that if they're looking to expand on their spiritual intelligence, if they want to explore in a safe place, that spirit calling is a place for them at spirit-calling.com. But also, you don't have to be alone like I was. And that's one of the things that I love about my community is that you can ask questions. There's resources there, all the videos and books that I use. There's aligned professionals that are there that you can trust. You don't have to guess.
Yeah,
And you can have conversations with me, with other community members. It's amazing. And then also, I am able to tap into people's spirit guides. So I can call in your guide. I can channel a message for you. There's 3 different ways you can work with me, and they're on my website, the Work with Pamela page. But it's like the coolest thing. Even my daughter texted me the other day and said, Mom, this is happening to me. Can you tap in and see what's happening? And I was like, okay, I'm not a medical intuitive, but I'll do my best. And this whole message about her life, what she's contemplating, all these things in her life, very specific. And I'm like, okay, God, I'm just going to send it over. She writes back, wow. And I said, wow, what? She goes, all true. And I mean, so I said to her, you have not only your inner guidance, your higher self and your guidance
yeah,
to help you navigate, but now you have your guides here giving you this. You really get to look at this and make a life choice,
yeah,
you know? And I love working with people and helping them understand what the messages mean and breaking it down. It's like, that's my favorite part. So, yeah, I would love to tell anybody that if they want to go to my website and check it out.
yeah. That's awesome.
Thank
I'm
you.
so glad you brought that up because it kept me from having to ask you about it because I was going to.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yes,
So
yes.
that's very, very cool. So do you have any messages from your collective that you channel? Would you like to share anything from there?
I think that one of the messages that really they want to share is to really, okay, I'll tap in. Yes, we are here. We are here now with a message for all the community, just witnessing this experience with us. We are the Great Council of Light, and we are here to express our gratitude for the opportunity to share the space with you. It is now important for you to listen to the information at hand. As we say, there are events coming to your world that are uncomfortable for you to witness. We say this for you to be prepared, as Pamela said, not scared, but to know deep within yourself that you have the opportunity to understand what is before you. For now, there is a shift happening. all of which is for the betterment of your humankind, a shift to return to the ways of the worlds of which you have existed in the past. Know that you are within the space of receiving guidance, understanding yourselves within this new dynamic and frequency. For we express that it is in your best interest to work on your physicality, your frequency of your individual beings. For you see, when fear does come to your planet, you will not be swept up within it. You will rise above it. Understand, it is not in fear. Fear exists already in many, many, many ways on your planet. You now have the opportunity to shift your perspective. I understand that it's difficult for you, but we implore you to work on ways to elevate your frequency. Do it now, as you see, time is of the essence. Yeah,
Wow.
that's what I mean. They're not messing around.
Yeah. Time is of the essence. Yeah. And so there may be some people listening to this that don't understand what it means to, you okay? You need a drink of water or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. No, I just have to use the restroom, but um I'm fine. My eyes get a little blurry and I just kind of come back into reality because they just come in. That was very strong. They really want me to be doing this. And I'm like, no, I'm not ready. But, I mean, I don't have to wait. They just start talking.
Yeah, that wasn't long at all. That was like boom, right there. So
Yeah. Hmm.
for people who don't maybe understand what it means to or how to raise their frequency, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I know. It's a really good one. I'm working on a course to help people understand this because it needs to be kindergarten level. Because
Right.
people think it's woo woo. They think it's strange. They don't understand. Well, when you walk in a room and there's a chick or a dude that you can't stand because you don't like his vibe, that's his frequency. That's her frequency.
Yeah.
You don't like their vibration. It contrasts with you. It doesn't resonate with you, right?
Yeah.
So for anyone who's seen or plays an instrument, you pluck on a string, you hammer a string on the piano, bing. It has a sound. It has a frequency. It has a hertz. It also has a color.
Hmm.
We live in a world where we have chakras in our body. Our physicality has chakras in our energetic body. We have seven main chakras, but there's a million other ones that I won't even claim to understand them. But as they're lower on your body and they go higher up your body, they start at a certain lower frequency and they raise in vibration to a higher frequency. Love is the highest frequency of all. So the guides want you to do a little test. Go about your day. No, actually, sit down. Think about your youth. Think about an experience that you had when you were a child that brought you the most joy, that made you the happiest. Something that you can recall and bring into your consciousness that made you feel buoyant, free, happy, alive. Joy.
Yeah.
Feel my body right now. I can feel my body right now, right?
Yeah.
A wondrous experience. Feel your body. It's a high frequency. Now go back to a childhood memory that made you feel scared, withdrawn, restricted. It feels low. It
Yeah.
feels scary. It feels constricted. It feels small. It feels dark.
Yeah.
There's your two right there.
Yeah.
High, low. Okay. Then the guides want you to go through your day. One day, measuring your experiences, measuring your experiences. What are you doing in your day? What are you doing? Write them down. Do it for a day. Give it
Yeah.
a value of 1 or 10, with love being the highest, 10. Write down your day experiences. What's your number? What's your come out to be? Is it a low number? Or is it a high number? Now go through your day trying to make your days a higher number.
Right.
That's
That's
a
a great
crash
way to put
course in
it.
elementary. I channeled it. I'm making a course about it.
Yeah.
I was in the middle of channeling a message and they brought the whole thing down. I'm trying to make a course. I don't know how to do a course. I'm trying to do it. That's another thing. They're like, build a course. Um, but that's like a kindergarten level thing for you to understand your frequency.
Yeah. Yeah.
So start with that. And if you want to learn more about frequency, come to my platform. There's lots of resources for you to
Yeah.
learn,
That's
you know.
awesome. I love
Let's
it.
go out in nature, put your feet in the ground, listen
Oh,
to a sound healing, meditate, start eating whole foods that aren't processed. Stop drinking booze as much. Start trying to get in touch with presence, the presentness, you know, little things.
yeah.
And talk to your guides. Ask them, what do I need to do that's in my best and highest? Spirit, I don't know what to do next. Please show me.
Yeah. And then pay
Small
attention.
things.
I always say that. And then pay attention.
Yeah.
Don't ask the question and
And
then
pay
put
attention.
them on ignore, as my dad would
Right.
say, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Attention.
something small like getting a journal and just starting to write every morning about what it is you want to create in your life.
Yeah.
Or what do you want to change? Try not to make it negative, make it positive because
Make
the
it
negative will
positive.
just present itself because you want the positive, right?
Yeah.
So small things, they don't have to be big things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's great advice. And I'll put all your links in the description box below the video so people can find you easily.
Okay.
Thank you so much for
Excellent.
sharing your story so amazingly today. I just enjoyed it so much listening to how you
I'm glad.
traveled
Mhm.
through all of this stuff. So it's amazing. So thank you for that. And
Oh, you're welcome.
thank you, everyone, for joining us for another episode of Spiritually Speaking. I hope you'll like, share, and subscribe so we can get this message out to as many people as we can because it is so needed right now. And thank you again. And I will see you on the next one. I love you all.